Suhrin mityarudasina madhyastadvesha bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. Shri Krishna specifies 9 types of personalities, etc. And finally brings us to samabuddhihi vishishyate, the one who is feeling all are equal, the one who is feeling even with all types of personalities. This is a very important verse, so I'm going to review this quite a bit right now. Samabuddhi, for us, sounds similar to samadhi. I will explain the difference. Samadhi is made up of 3 sections. Sam means well. A means towards. Dadati means place. That gets shortened to di. Sam, a, di. This is when the ego is well towards placed. The final place the ego has to be put is in the spirit. Samabuddhihi, in this verse, this is one who is practicing. Samadhi, one who is perfect. Samabuddhihi, one who is practicing. And we all know that practice makes perfect. The one who is perfect will feel all of these types of personalities are equal. For the one who's practicing, that's us. For us to try to feel even in our inner world as we interact with those who are different. They have different personalities. The way for us to practice is to become a more evolved personality. No one in Meaningful Mornings is a papi, a sinner. No one is an ari, one who harms. No one is a dvesha, one who is vengeful. So I'm going to review the upper 6 personalities, starting with Udasina is one who doesn't think about anyone. Sometimes that's like us. I'm being specific so we can grow out of this. More evolved than that, Madhyastha, one who thinks about another. More evolved than that, Bandhu, they don't just think about another, but they act for another also. There's a significant difference between thinking about another and acting for another. So these are steps on how we can evolve. Next is Mitra. Mitra is one who is thinking and acting for another by choice. With a bandhu, it is by relation. With a mitra, it is by choice. A sadhu is one who is following their responsibilities. Because of that, all around them have their rights fulfilled. It is because some are irresponsible that others' rights are depleted, are deprived, not for a sadhu. And the most evolved personality in this verse is a suhrid. A suhrid is one who is happy which is why they give without the expectation of getting. As your personality evolves, it will be easier to be even with all types of personalities. When you're established in this, that is, you know all beings are equal. Another insight into practicing, it doesn't matter what type of personality someone has, everyone wants to be happy. Everyone is a seeker. They're simply seeking with a different maturity. A papi, least mature. A suhrid, most mature. So if I remember everyone wants to be happy, everyone is a seeker, it's easier for me to live with them, yes? This will come out more clearly in the next chapter. Practice makes perfect for the one who is perfect. This is our trajectory. That deeper than a personality is presence. Shift your vision from the personality to the presence. It is the same presence as you. For the one who is perfect, they understand and appreciate that people have prints, vasanas. But if you think of this very logically, if there's a print, there has to be paper. Yes? The print depends on the paper does not depend on the print. The same paper you are made of, they are made of also. I can take a whole week on this verse, but we will proceed. We now begin 23 straight verses on specifically what contemplation is. As we flow through these verses, please remember, Shri Krishna is directly teaching this. This is not branded, this is not patented, this is not marketed. This is the original yogi sharing how we can be the same. As we go through these 23 verses, start creating a checklist. This is what I have to do, this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do. Verse 10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirashir aparigrahaha. First quarter. A yogi. Here the word yogi means one who is practicing. This is not the yogi who's perfect, because if they're perfect, why do they have to use a means? So who is Shri Krishna speaking to? Us, directly. Yunjita, be steady. Satatam, perpetually. In contemplation, one is to practice being steady, physically, here more so mentally. This steadiness is for us to not succumb to, it's known as kshipita. Kshipta means being reactive. When you're contemplating, there will be outer annoyances, but for one not to react to them. Deeper than that, vikshipta. To not succumb to vikshipta, that means being distracted. We think distractions come from the outside, but they come from the inside. And finally, to not succumb to laya. Laya is laziness. For those who are practicing contemplation as a beginner, I assure you, your first challenge is, as you practice, you are going to sleep. I've been through this. I was an expert sleeper. Now I'm trying to change that. This is what steadiness is. Not to react, rather to be balanced. That was highlighted in verse 7. Not to be distracted, but to be focused. That was highlighted in verse 8. Not to be lazy, but to be reflective. That was highlighted in verse 9. We react to circumstances, we get distracted by articles, we become lazy with being disciplined with people. That's why we're attached. Atmanam, the contemplator, rahasi, solitude, stitaha, should be in solitude. One is to contemplate by themselves. What's really lovely about our silence retreats, now that they've shifted from physical to virtual, in a physical setting, there was 20 of us, 25 of us contemplating together. Now that they're virtual, you're in a room by yourself, yes? It's more aligned with Shri Krishna's teachings. All of us are living with people, or most of us are living with people. Rahasi or solitude means being in a space where there's less annoyances. As I teach Meaningful Mornings, I'm not doing this in our living room because there's two annoyances named Vyasa and Shuka there. So I'm in a corner of our bedroom where there's less annoyances, yes. And solitude starts externally, but matures to being internal for one to enjoy their own company. When you learn to enjoy your company, being by yourself, then you will be better at enjoying others' company. I had mentioned that yesterday. When you understand people, you accept people, then you enjoy them. But you have to understand yourself first. How? Be with yourself. Those who are extroverts, they don't know how to be by themselves, which is why they will never be able to contemplate until they grow out of being an extrovert. Ekaki. In solitude, one is alone. But in your aloneness, you don't feel lonely. When we're alone, we feel lonely. Ekaki, one who feels comfortable. Yata chittatma, and their steadiness, their discipline applies to their mind and body. Chitta is mind. Atma here means body. This will come more clearly about how your body should be comfortable. It's coming. Be patient. And so much has already been shared about the mind. Steadiness at the mental level, as I mentioned, is not to feel lonely. At the body level, not to feel indulgent. When you're contemplating, one should not succumb to, oh, I should eat this first, or I should drink this to contemplate. And this is specified more. Nirashihi. One has to let go of what they don't have. Aparigraha, to let go of what they do have. Sharing this in a different way, I'm sure you've all heard, you have to let go to let God. Let go to let God. Reordering these, aparigraha means to hold on. Hold on to what you have. That means the past. Nirashihi means to hold on to what you don't have. That means the future. So summarizing all of this, contemplation, find a space where there's less annoyance. In this space, ensure that the body is comfortable. Ensure that the mind is comfortable. Lots has been shared about the mind. To not succumb to being reactive, distracted, lethargic. To let go of the past, to let go of the future. A lovely way to initiate all of this, be grateful. Contemplation begins with being grateful, which we will now practice. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh. Our external environment affects our internal environment. As long as we are practicing. When we are perfect, there's no difference between a conducive and unconducive environment. Be in a space where there's minimal annoyances, sounds, smells, and so on. In this space, be comfortable with being alone. Alone is not just in reference to beings, but also circumstances. To not be reactive, distracted by past circumstances, present circumstances. Being comfortable in solitude and aloneness is also in reference to articles. To not think of what you have, what you don't have. Contemplation is to change our identification from what we are not, that which is unnatural, to what we are, that which is our nature. What we are not can be described as a kosha, or covering. What we are can be described as atma, or center. Our furthest most covering is our lifestyle. The acharamaya kosha, the covering that is focused on doing, doing, doing. This covering makes us doing to create joy. Change what this covering does from doing to being grateful. Begin to identify all that you have to help you be grateful. What you have. A warm blanket. A safe car. The opportunity to learn. Be grateful. eventually, slowly, begin to identify all of the reasons you have to be grateful from what you have to who you are. From the experiences to the equipment. Be grateful for fingers that are coordinated. Be grateful for your digestive system. Be grateful for an open mind. Be grateful for who you are. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.